we need to stop believing in the cultural delusion that we have to sacrifice sleep in order to succeed. Hi, I'm Arianna Huffington, Editor-in-Chief of the Huffington Post, and you are watching Behind the Brand.
Hi, I'm Brian Elliott. Welcome to another edition of Behind the Brand. Today I'm here with Arianna Huffington, who heads the Huffington Post and everything else. She's also a best-selling author. Arianna, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Great to be here.
So I usually ask my guests, how'd you get this job?
So, well, right now I feel very lucky that the Huffington Post has focused on these three big pillars that have turned out to be where audiences want to find themselves. You know, obviously news and politics, solutions, and wellness. And as you know, I launched my new book, The Sleep Revolution, recently, and sleep has been a big part of the Huffington Post ever since we launched a dedicated section in 2007, which followed my own rude awakening when I collapsed from sleep deprivation and hit my cheekbone on the way down. And that was the beginning of my reevaluating sleep and bringing this to the Huffington Post. And what is fascinating to me is how we are helping accelerate a culture shift around sleep that's already underway. People are already beginning to look at the new science, which makes it clear that sleep is not negotiable, and introducing changes in workplaces, in their own lives. But the campaigns that we've launched to coincide with the publication of the Sleep Revolution, one is college outreach to 100 colleges, a campaign with Uber against drowsy driving, a campaign with the Marriott hotels to put my 8 top sleep tips on 3,000 hotels on every pillow. All that is helping create a critical mass around the recognition that we need to stop believing in the cultural delusion that we have to sacrifice sleep in order to succeed.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you because, you know, it kind of took your own rude awakening, literally, you know, injuring yourself to get out of that mode. What makes you think that a book is going to change all that? Like, what's the plan?
And that's a great point, because I think that it would have been hard for just the book to change the plan, but the shift is already happening. So culturally, people are more aware of the fact that not getting as much sleep as we actually need to be operating fully recharged is detrimental to our health, to our decision making, and to our happiness. And I think the reason why I'm optimistic is because of the way I've structured the book. The second half is all about the tools and techniques, the new habits to introduce in our lives to be able to get a full night's sleep. But the first part is essential, and I don't want people watching to jump to the second part, because the first part is about convincing ourselves.
It's very clinical. You go through the history.
You have to have the science. You have to understand, you know, that the new science makes it so clear that everything is degraded when we are not getting the sleep we need. And also the new science makes it very clear that the sleep we need is for 99% of the world, 7 to 9 hours a night.
Right.
There's about 1% who are known as short sleepers, and they can get away with very little sleep without adverse consequences. But it's a genetic mutation, so you either have it or you don't.
Well, and I like the fact that you underscore that teenagers need more, 8 to 10.
Yes.
And yet, you know, it's the opposite in schools. It's like they have to get there earlier, and there's more workload, and
Exactly.
it's getting
That's
worse.
why we are also working on the movement to start school later, because so often kids go to school before they are fully recharged, and what happens is that they are diagnosed often wrongly as having attention deficit disorder when they're sleep deprived.
Talk to me about nap rooms and how you've implemented that here at HuffPo. And
So we have 2 nap rooms here. You're welcome to go visit them, and they're now perpetually full. because we want our employees to be fully recharged. So if they're tired in the middle of the afternoon, it makes more sense to go have a nap than have a fifth cup of coffee or an energy drink or a third donut and press a kind of the reset button for the day. But I actually predict that nap rooms are going to be as common as conference rooms in the workplace of the future.
Yeah, and you talk about hoping people will carry, like yoga mats, they'll carry nap mats, and you hope that culture shift will happen. I think it's excellent. Man, where were you when I was working my 9 to 5?
Well, you have plenty of time to bring the changes in your life. You're young. I think the great thing is that we can start with small changes. Everything I have in the book is like micro steps. We don't have to make huge changes overnight, but micro steps lead to us truly transforming our lives.
Yeah, I think it was really insightful. Maybe let's break down some of those steps.
Yes.
What are some of your tips? Because you say, your mileage may vary, this may not be for everyone, but try them and see how it works.
So the first thing is to recognize that we need a transition to sleep. Those watching who are parents know that we always provide a transition for our babies and our young children. We don't just drop them in bed. We give them a bath, we put them in their PJs, we sing them a lullaby. So I have a whole menu of choices to create your own transition. Mine is started with 5 minutes before I would turn off the lights, turning off all my devices and escorting them out of my bedroom. Now it's 30 minutes because I have a full 30-minute ritual now. So I take all my devices outside my bedroom. I have a very hot bath. If you don't like baths, you can have a shower. That is like a demarcation line, kind of washing away the day, acknowledging that in all our lives there are incompletions, things we haven't finished.
Yeah, you talk about stillness, right?
Yes, but introducing some stillness because that's how our mind begins to power down. Yeah. And then wearing clothes in bed that are not the clothes we wear in the gym, which is very confusing.
You have your pink pajamas, right?
My pink pajamas and night dresses, and I only read physical books in bed. Nothing on screens with the blue light that stimulates our brain. The reason why that transition is so important, because if we don't have a transition ritual for our brain will wake us up in the middle of the night. And we have millions of people who go to sleep, but then they're woken up by their thoughts, their incomplete to-do list, whatever it is, and then it's much harder to go to sleep.
Yeah, you talk about the science of it, how the blue light or light in general from TVs or whatnot, takes away the melatonin levels, and then we're not able to ever get to sleep. And I love how you break it down with science, and there's a lot of convincing triggers. You touch on, for those who are scientific or academic, there's an academic approach or a scientific approach, or it even talks about sex in your love life, improving.
Absolutely, it definitely gets better when you're not exhausted. It makes sense. Even erectile dysfunction and sleep deprivation have been linked together. So weight is very linked to having enough sleep. Otherwise, if we're sleep deprived, our body craves all the wrong things, carbs and sugar specifically.
So, reading your history, you didn't grow up with everything. You grew up in a very humble beginning in Athens, Greece, right? And were you always so savvy at business? Did it always come so naturally, or was it something that you acquired?
I've been very lucky to be doing things I love, writing books, which has been my main job for many years. The Sleep Revolution is my 15th book. Launching the Huffington Post 11 years ago now, which really recognized a need in the market, and constantly innovating and seeing what does the culture need. And I really believe now that we are at this incredible moment in the culture when people are seeing the casualties proliferating about the unsustainable ways we've been leading our lives. And 2015, you've had executive after executive collapsing from sleep deprivation, exhaustion, like the CEO of United collapsing on his treadmill, the CEO of BMW collapsing on stage. And that, combined with the new science, makes people want to reconsider how we lead our lives.
I want to ask you, a lot of people watch the show are entrepreneurs, and you're very entrepreneurial. Do you think that's something that we're born with, or is it something that can be learned? Is it in our DNA?
Oh, absolutely, we can learn it. And I'm very passionate to make sure that entrepreneurs don't think that they have to burn out in order to succeed. Because, it's well known that 3/4 of startups fail. And yet there is the myth of the entrepreneur who never sleeps and never is always on. And it's impossible, if you're always on, to be operating at your best. In fact, the science now shows that if you've been up for 24 hours, it's basically you're practically drunk. It's the cognitive equivalent of being drunk. So you wouldn't be congratulating people for being drunk and running their business after 5 shots. Why should you congratulate them for running their business when they are sleep deprived?
Can you think of one accomplishment or one moment that you're most proud of to date so far? I mean, you have, I'm sure, a lot that you're planning on doing, but up to now.
So I just obviously am very, very happy about what we've done with the Huffington Post, and also very happy that we were at the forefront of this wellness revolution, that people are now prioritizing. Brands really want to be associated with wellness, and human beings want to live their lives in ways that are healthier, more sustainable.